Peace and blessings. How's everyone doing? Father Agustino here. Today's Wednesday, and this is your word for today. We're still in May, celebrating the month of Mary, our Blessed Mother, and I've been going through a number of the different apparitions, explaining what's going on. And today, I wanted to talk about something that's a little controversial, and that is the apparitions of our Blessed Mother at Medjugorje. So, Medjugorje is a place it's a town in the current country of Bosnia-Herzegovina, which is in the former Yugoslavia. And there's a lot that happened, starting in the early 80s. These apparitions have allegedly been going on for constantly until this very day. Now, people need to know that this set of apparitions has not been approved as private revelation like the other apparitions that I've mentioned. What does that mean? The church always studies whenever these things happen to define and to declare if something is worthy of belief or not, because it shouldn't surprise anybody that sometimes people said, oh, I saw the Virgin Mary, and they really didn't. They just kind of had something for dinner the night before that caused some problems. So how do we know? Well, we can trust the church to go, and they thoroughly study all this stuff and then declare it, whether it's worthy of belief or not. And so, technically, Medjugorje can't be really adequately studied because it hasn't finished yet. So there are apparently, allegedly, apparitions that are continuing on. And I say allegedly just out of respect for the report that came out recently from the commission that was put together by Pope Benedict XVI and gave the report to Pope Francis, but I'll get to that in 2 seconds. Quick history. So a couple kids go up this hill, now called Apparition Hill, and they see something run down, and they see some more of their friends. They run back up, and they all drop to their knees, and they come back down crying. The apparition was about 15 minutes, and then when asked, one of the visionaries replied, I knew she could not be of this earth because my heart told me so. She was so beautiful, etc., etc. It caused a bit of a sensation, and as things went on, the apparitions continued. There was a number of different things that were given, secrets, events, promises, and little by little, the apparitions began to wean off, except for a couple of the visionaries who report that some of them still receive messages to this very day on a certain day of the month. What's been the message? In summary, obviously there's been so many messages from Our Lady, but Our Lady declared herself in Medjugorje as Our Lady of Peace. And she's asked for peace, 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 pray for peace, and pray for conversion. And the way you do this is by going to confession, praying the rosary prayer, and the sacraments. Fasting also is a very big message of hers. Okay, so this is what the message has been, and there's a lot of different things. Even there was a time where churches were not allowed to officially go on pilgrimage there. So this is somewhat controversial, and the commission that it gave their results to Pope Francis basically is trying to form a distinction between the original apparitions, the apparitions meaning in the early days when all were part of those visions, and those apparitions happening today, which apparently, according to Pope Francis, they viewed with a little bit more skepticism. But once again, we can't say because they haven't really finished. You can't really study something unless it's all kind of said and done. Now, so a couple points here. First, I'll start out with a little personal note, and then I'll start out with, and then I'll go into some macro, big, wide notes. My mom went to Medjugorje when she was definitely not into church, and she came back a different woman. This is something that Pope Francis mentions. He says you cannot deny the fact that so many people go there to be converted, and it's not fake. It's not it's not nothing unreal. This is something that we have seen, perhaps you know, perhaps you yourself have had a conversion through, in some way, shape, or form, Medjugorje. This is good, obviously. This is one of the things that she was saying, that we must strive to be converted. And we need to pray for the conversion of souls. I personally went to Medjugorje as a priest, and I tell you what, like literally, I was hearing confessions till 3-4 o'clock in the morning because the lines would not end. And I was like, well, if they're waiting here, I might as well stay here too. And it was powerful. There was an apparition early on. One of the main visionaries had an apparition of Satan. I'm not sure exactly the details of how he looked, but he said, look, you need to renounce the Madonna, because if you do this, your life is going to be miserable. And if you want to be happy here on this earth, just renounce it. Just say it. And she didn't. Thanks be to God, right? Not a good thing. Anyone tells you to renounce the Blessed Mother, it's not a good thing. And then immediately the Blessed Mother appeared to her and said that the devil is real. Let me say that again. The devil is real. And the devil asked to put the church to the test. And the century that was given, apparently from this vision, the Blessed Mother said was this last century, that this last century was under the power of Satan. And but then when the signs that I have told you to reveal come to pass, it will be the sign that his time has come to an end. Now, what does all this mean? Well, this vision actually might be corroborated with something that Pope Leo XIII experienced, and that's when we get all these St. Michael prayers. And Pope Leo XIII was towards the end of the 19th century, like the late 1800s. And then what happened in this last century? Well, it started out with World War I, then Great Depression, then in World War II, and more martyrs in the past 100 years than in all the other centuries combined. Definitely a time of the other things that would mention is like priests would be fighting with each other, marriages would fall into divorce, and we see all this stuff happening. Not that it didn't happen in the past, but the scale, you can't argue with the scale that by which it's going on is unprecedented. Now, that is from some visions, that is from some personal experience. What is the official word? The official word is that this is ongoing. The church has again said that it is permissible to go to Medjugorje for pilgrimage without defining definitively whether things are worthy of belief. Like they would say, private revelation worthy of belief, meaning something that you can with all your heart believe. People are allowed to go because there's a lot of good happening there. But my thought is, with Medjugorje, if you know, like there's 10 promises, then there's like these signs, and like the sign is supposed to appear like over Medjugorje. Like if you have any doubts, well, just wait. I mean, just wait, because if this stuff starts happening, I'm like, you can't deny it. But if none of it happens, well, it'll be difficult to prove. But that's kind of a summary of Our Lady of Peace in Medjugorje. But don't take my word for it. Check it out yourselves. You're going to find a lot of stuff on this on the internet, both for and against. But like I said, time's going to tell. One thing is for sure, we have the victory. And to pray for peace, to pray for conversion, to fast, to go to confession, to go to the Eucharist, to read Scripture, all these things contained in the alleged messages of Our Lady in Medjugorje are good things that we all should be doing right now. So this is Father Agustino with What's the Word Wednesday. We'll see you next week. Peace.